this is Catherine Dubberly, the Answer Lady. Today I'm bringing you some support videos for my new cables and lace spring cardigan that is loom knitted. You may find the techniques useful in other ways as well, but they do specifically refer to the cables and lace cardigan.
I call this a Wanderlust cable. The reason for the name is that it wanders all over the fabric, appearing to be a very large cable, but in fact it is created, each of these little spots is a 1-by-1 cross, one stitch over one stitch, moving out and then moving in again. So it is much easier to accomplish than it might appear, and we'll talk about making the lacy holes in another video. This one is about the Wanderlust cable. I'm U-wrapping everything in this pattern with a few exceptions. We're going to U-wrap up to the point of the cable, but I have found that it crosses more easily and distorts the fabric less, but still looks good, if at least one of the stitches involved in the cables is E-wrapped. This is the one I'm going to E-wrap, and I'll show you in a moment how I knew that. And I'm also going to E-wrap this one. Doing that will create a little bit of extra length that keeps the crosses from being overly tight. So I'm going to go ahead and finish wrapping this row and then knit it up to the point of the cable cross, and I'll show you the rest in a moment. One thing about Wanderlust cables is that we're seeing stockinette cables on the knit side of a stockinette background. Normally you have to have purl stitches surrounding a cable for it to stand out this much. And why does this work? It works because the cable keeps moving very frequently. In this case, it's crossed every single row. Every other row will also do it, but for this pattern it's every single row. Doing that, crossing so frequently, creates a shadow on the back so you can easily see where you've been. And that makes it easy to predict, even if you've lost count. You'll be working from a chart, so you shouldn't lose count. But you can see in there what stitches were last crossed. I've knitted over the stitches to the left and right, and now I'm going to knit over the cable stitches. If you look closely, you can see that that one is E-wrapped. These two are not. That one is, and that one is not. And you'll see that it's still kind of tight. Kind of tight is good. You don't want it sloppy. So tight that it strains you or the hook, the yarn, or the loom is not good, and you need to adjust your tightness of wrapping or E-wrap more stitches to create a little bit more room. But that was just right. Looking through there, you can see that that's where the stitch landed last time, is on this needle peg. Sometimes I say needles when I mean pegs. So I'm going to lift off the one left of it, lift off this E-wrap stitch and untwist it, and move it to the left. Whichever one is laid down first is the one that will appear on the front of the fabric. On the other side, these stitches are moving apart, and I can see that last cross, it landed here. Again, you don't really have to be able to see that because I give you a chart. Here is my second E-wrap stitch, and that's where the cable landed last time. So I'm going to lift it and untwist it, lift the one next to it, swap them, and because we're doing this on each side every row, one thing you can do to double check that you have it right is that between this outer stitch on the right and the outer stitch on the left, there should be an even number of other stitches every row.